everybody, how's it going? This is Darrin with GuitarControl.com bringing you this video lesson. Today I want to go over something that I keep getting asked about, and that is how to use a metronome for practice. Alright, so that's what we're going to be taking a look at today, so be sure to click on the link so you can get the tab to follow along with this, and let's get close up and take a look at what we got going on. Alright, so the first thing, you're going to want to get you a metronome. This is a quartz metronome that I've had for nearly 40 years. It's held together with a hair tie. It's like I've dropped it a million times and stuff, but it still works, so I use it. But you don't need to even go out and buy something fancy like this. If you have a smartphone, there are tons and tons of free metronome apps that you can get for Android or iPhone. So get you the app if you don't already have a metronome, or pick up a metronome, however you want to do it. This thing it's not, I don't think it's really anybody's favorite thing to do to practice with one of these, but it is extremely, extremely beneficial. So to start with, when you what the metronome is doing is it's just showing you where the quarter notes are in whatever it is that you're playing. So you know how like when you turn on the radio and a song comes on you like, and you start tapping your foot or clapping your hands or whatever, what your body has done is found where those downbeats are. So in when you look at it in a transcription, at the beginning of it, it has what is called the time signature. So you'll see the example on the tabs that there is like one that you probably see most often says 4, and then it's got a 4 underneath it, so it's like a 4 stacked on top of a 4. So what that's referring to is is telling you that there are 4 beats per measure. So the bottom number is telling you what kind of a note, which is a quarter note, because a quarter note is where you're 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll talk a little more about that in a minute. And then the number on top is telling you how many of those are going to be in a measure. So 4/4 is referring that there are 4 beats, or the equivalent of 4 quarter notes. But it isn't going to just be quarter notes. I mean, you have quarter notes, half notes, whole notes, eighth notes, 16th notes. There's different ones, and that's what we're going to talk about here with this. So another common one will say 3/4. So what that means is that there are 3 beats in the measure. So that's like a lot of like a waltz, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So what that's meaning is the number on top is that there are 3 of the equivalent of quarter notes. All right, so I have my metronome set at 60 beats a minute. So as you can see, there's a light that blinks simultaneous with the click. Oh, one other thing really quick. If you are using an app, like on your phone, there in the settings, or maybe just a button right on the app, it might have something where it says to turn on or off the accent. Or maybe it'll have where you can select if you're in 4/4 or 3/4 or whatever. You want to turn that off or set your timing to 1/4. The reason is because you want it to just be a steady click. When you have the accent, what it'll do is it'll make a different sound where 1 is. So it might be like tick. 1, 2, 3, 4. You don't want that accent where number 1 is at this point in time if this is new to you. So I'm setting it here, 60 beats a minute, and we're going to start off, we're just going to count with it. 1, 2, 3, 4. You want to get it so your body's kind of in sync with it, so you know where that click is. Tap your foot, get yourself in sync with it. Okay, so if we were doing a whole note gets 4 beats. So we would just 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we have a half note, which gets 2 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or quarter notes, which get 1 beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. So in 4/4 timing, it could have any of those or any combination that adds up to 4. So you could have a half note with 2 quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or 1, 2, 3, 4. Anything that adds up to those 4 beats. Okay, so the next one we're going to look at is an 8th note. Now, the 8th note is an 8th note is half of a quarter note. So let me turn this off. I have a hard time talking with the click going on. I start trying to talk in time. You will have, if you have 2 8th notes together, you'll have the first one will be on the downbeat where the click is, and then the other one will be in between the clicks, or what they call the offbeat or the upbeat. So you would count that 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So when you hear somebody talk about like, oh, that's on the and of 3, that's what they're referring to. So in this case, you have 1 note on the click and 1 in between. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So in a 1 measure in 4/4 timing, you could have a combination of half notes, quarter notes, and 8th notes. So you could have a half note for beats 1 and 2, and a quarter note for beat 3, and then 8th notes for beat 4. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and just like that. Now, the other one that, aside from 8th notes, I mean, there's lots and lots of different stuff. We'll look at 16th notes and 8th note triplets, and then that's as far as we're going to go with this. So if we do a 16th note, that's a group of 4 notes that's per 1 beat. So you have 1 on the click and 3 after the click, and then the next one would start on the next click. So how you count 16th notes is 1 E and a. So that's how you can get the 4. 1 E and 2 E and so the numbers are going to land on the clicks. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and now with these, again, anything that will add up to 4 in a measure. So you could have you could mix quarter notes and 16th notes and 8th notes all together if you wanted to. So maybe we do, and half notes, let's do that. So we're going to do, well, we can't do all of them. Let's just do it with quarter notes, 8th notes, and 16th notes. So 1, 2, and 3 E and 4. 1, 2, and 3 E and 4. So I'm doing a quarter note on 1, 8th note on 2, 16th on 3, and quarter note on 4. 1, 2, and 3 E and 4. Like that. Now the last one we'll look at is an 8th note triplet. So with a triplet, you have 3 8th notes that equals 1 beat. So where you get into hear stuff like that is like the, you hear that like in like a lot of like rock music and stuff. They'll do rhythms like that. So with this, you've got 3 notes per click. So it's like triplet, triplet, triplet. So you want to break it into so you know which beat you're on. So how I like to do it is that for the first one I'll say the number, and then I use the word yellow for the next 2 notes because there's 2 syllables. So like 1 yellow, 2 yellow, 3 yellow. So with the metronome, 1 1 yellow, 2 yellow, 3 yellow, 1 yellow, 2 yellow, 3 yellow. So now let's try a triplet and then 16th note. 1 yellow, 2 E, and a 1 yellow, 2 E. Like that. There's so many different combinations of things that you can do with this. So that's like when we're playing single notes. But if we were trying to play, like say we had a song and it has a strum pattern, you know, like you're looking at the tab and it's showing, you know, like that, you know, you're playing a, you know, an A chord, and you're like, well, okay, well, what's the strum? Like, how many downs, how many ups, that kind of a thing. Well, this can really help with that. So when you look at the tab, and on this, in the tabs I've provided for this will show this, is that the bottom half of it is tab, and the upper half is the upper part of it is the sheet music. So the sheet music is going to show you the notes stacked on top of each other, and then I like to put like at the top of that like what chord it is. And then the tab would show you where you're putting your fingers. But if you already know how to play the chord, you don't need to look at the tab. You would just look up and say, oh, it's an A chord. And then you might look to see where, you know, if they're playing an A like this, or like this, or like this, whatever the case may be. And I've changed my mind just so we can get a good camera view of this right here. We're going to do, here, I'll just do it here. We're doing D major, so barring the 10th fret and doing my second finger on the 11th fret of the G string, my third finger on the 12th of the A string, and my fourth finger on the 12th of the D string. Just a D major bar chord. So if you looked up at that and you looked where at the music part of it, because the tab part won't tell you this, but if you look at the music part, you can see that like maybe the first one shows that it's a half note, and then the next one is a quarter note, and then the next two are eighth notes. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and. So as a general rule, when you're strumming chords, quarter notes are going to be downstrokes, and like a whole note would be a down, or a half note would be a down, depending upon, I mean, sometimes just depending upon how the song is. And then if you're doing eighth notes, the downbeat is a downstroke and the upbeat is an upstroke. Like I said, this is a general rule. It's not set in stone 100% of the time. But a really common strumming pattern is what's called the universal strum, that is a half note, a quarter note, and then two eighth notes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and. So a really a like common song that you probably heard that uses this strumming pattern is "Boulevard of Broken Dreams" by Green Day. So this isn't a lesson on how to play that song, but I'm just gonna play it so you can kind of see how that would work. Just like that. All right, so I hope that this sheds some light on how to practice with the metronome and like how it works and stuff. One other thing I didn't talk about is I put that at 60 beats a minute as just kind of a random place to start. If that feels too fast for you, slow it down. You just want to make sure you're in time with it. You don't want to be trying to play faster than you're ready to do, so you just want to make sure you're in time with it. And you will find that it's a little bit easier to play when it's going a little bit faster than slow. So one other thing I want to share with you is that if you're playing, let's say we turn it all the way down to 40. See how slow, how much time there is between those? So if you're 1, 2, 3. Well, it's easy to kind of get where you end up going 1, 2, and you're like not in sync with it. So if you're trying to play something that is, you know, let's say you're playing half notes. So it would be, you know, 1, whoops, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's kind of hard to anticipate where that click is. So if you count the notes that you're not playing, it makes it a little easier. So you could 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, or 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and just count those notes that you're not playing, so that way it can help you to stay, so you know right where the downbeat is coming in. So if you like this lesson, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Leave me a comment down below if there's something you'd like to see covered in a future lesson. If you haven't already subscribed, please do that. Click that notification bell so that way you won't miss out on any of the stuff that we upload throughout the week. Anyway, that's all I've got for you today. Thanks for watching and have a great day.